How's that?
Because you're biting my Catch and Collectibles LLC.
Really?
You're pretending to be me.
That's what it
People
is.
have come to you all weekend thinking you were me.
So what about what you
Change
just said?
your name.
So what about you just said? Stand on it.
I'm gonna stand on it.
The threat?
No, you gotta cease and
The
desist.
threat.
You got no more. You're not gonna do any
The
more
threat.
shows.
The threat?
Oh, I'm so cool. I'm gonna record you.
Well, wait, guys, before we take a look at the clip, before we publish a video, there are some serious claims being made, and it is extremely important that we get both sides of the story. Oh yeah, and hey guys, welcome back. Everyone directly involved was invited to share what happened. Buckle up for an extremely long video because I think this needs it. 2x it, watch it in parts if you need to. I'll make sure to get the timeline set up for easy navigation. Love to make it more digestible, but it wouldn't be fair for me to post clips of this stuff, even if I tried to get everything in context and every argument that was made. It would be irresponsible to not offer everyone a chance to speak, to share their side of the story. It is potentially harmful to share just one side in a video, even if adding nothing of substance and claiming that like this is just one side and just completely ignoring the other. There's a certain responsibility, I guess, when you're sharing it to potentially thousands of people that are going to watch this, that everyone knows or everyone has the ability to see what's going on, to see what the other side of this says, thinks, what they think happened, what they say happened. If I'm going to share my opinions, I want you to be able to form your own based on the information that is available, and all of it, not just one side. Please share in the comment section below as you watch, and ideally after you get the full context of the entire video. I promise it's worth watching. If you want to know what's going on here, you kind of have to. On that note, this isn't just drama anymore when people start threatening violence at an event. We've seen it in the clip. We're going to talk about it with all of the individuals involved. Treating it or labeling it as drama is a disservice to the events that took place and anyone it happens to in the future. We shouldn't have to remind adults, but threats are not okay, whether it's on someone's life or violence of any kind. If this was just some name calling or petty nonsense, I wouldn't be making a video. Context time. We have two Pokemon selling couples in bordering states who have almost identical names. So the first one here in North Carolina, NC, as it will be referred to in the video here, who seems to have been using the name since December of 2022. On Instagram, filed an LLC in February of 2021. This is Ashley and Joe, as they will be referenced later on. Now, more recently, in the old South Carolina, SC, there's a Ketchum Collectibles with an apostrophe who registered as an LLC. The earliest record of this is in March of 2024, and same goes with their Instagram account. The entire series of events that we're going to go into detail on were all they all stemmed off the fact that these names were similar. North Carolina was upset that South Carolina had a similar name. They were going to be at the same event. So I'm going to give my thoughts on the naming itself. The name, for anyone who couldn't, I'm sure you guys all did because you're all very intelligent. The name is just a shortened, very trademarked Pokemon slogan. The Pokemon Company could ask either one of these companies, of these businesses, or even both of them to change it at any time. With the North Carolina Ketchum, their branding and logos are colored silhouettes of Pokemon. I mean, you're playing with fire there a little bit. I mean, if you mind your own business, there's a good chance. If you're small time, you're probably going to be all right. But it's very possible. It's very possible that the Pokemon Company steps in and says, hey, you can't do that. It's happened before. It'll happen again, I'm sure. Nintendo, Pokemon, they're very protective over their stuff, and if they feel like they want to, they will definitely remove your right to use it. Not to mention the fact that they got the full trademarked Gotta Catch 'em All on the clothing here, on their logo, everywhere. So like, if you're going to pretend that like Ketchum is nothing to do with, it's not the slogan, it's not just two words removed from the slogan, I don't know if you have that argument at any point when you're using the full sentence on clothing, just not in the LLC or anything that you're trying to file business wise. Now, I'm not saying that it's going to happen. I'm not saying that the Pokemon company is going to shut everyone down. That's, Squirtle629 on Instagram. I don't know if that's an actual Instagram account. My apologies if you are. But anyone using branding in this way should probably consider themselves lucky that the Pokemon company doesn't care, at least at the point of them using it. At this point, with these two businesses that are clearly stepping in on Pokemon IP. Now, if you file trademarks on variations of Pokemon IP, I personally can't think of a better way to get their attention. That's probably not a good idea. If we want to pretend that they've made enough changes to appease the Pokemon company, does the other Ketchum's added apostrophe not make it different enough? If you're going to just remove a couple words, is it okay if they just add the apostrophe in there? There's variations on it. It's going to happen. It's absolutely going to happen. Let's talk similar names, whether it's social accounts, shop names, etc. Similar situations happen with common Pokemon names like I Choose You, Pika, or anything with Poke in the name. If you use a famous line or branding from Pokemon, people are going to have and continuously create similar names. There's 6 accounts that show up on Instagram with almost identical Ketchum Collectibles names, one of which doesn't have periods or underscores and was set up 4 years prior to the North Carolina Ketchum. So should they be the ones that are most upset within this entire thing, or does it just matter that the other two are closer together and that they ended up at the same show? These guys were even set up at shows in the same way that the other two Ketchums are Ketchening. There are countless accounts and sellers with slight variations on it because it's a famous tagline for Pokemon. If it has anything to do with Pokemon IP, people are going to use it in business and usernames all over the world. I'm going to summarize each of the individual days for you. This is day 0 prior to the event, and we'll play this through. If you want to read them, you can. I'm not going to go through and read all of the DMs to you, but I do suggest you take a little read through, pause it when you need to. But we have Ketchum, North Carolina, sent South Carolina messages about how they trademarked the name. The NC couple told SC that they had to change their name legally. These messages, in my opinion, came off as threatening and could have been less aggressive and in turn more likely to solve the issue and make both parties happy. I don't think mentioning legal action during an initial conversation was productive. Maybe that's just me, but if I receive these, I take it as such. Even if you're not saying that you're going to do it, that you're giving them a chance or you're going to do it, it's still kind of like that. It doesn't set up a good situation. It's not exactly a feel good conversation. I don't think. I think you try to solve it first and then maybe you move on to something else. The South Carolina SC couple looked into it and came to the conclusion that they did not have to change their name. NC mentions a federal trademark which was not yet in place, if ever approved. In my opinion, the legal pressure placed in or by North Carolina is a scare tactic and bluff. I'm not a lawyer or trademark expert of any kind, but I don't think it makes sense in any way for them to pursue it. Everything up until this point has happened before the event itself. So now we're at day one. Day one, when it's referenced in the phone calls. We're now at the event. We're at the show. We're at Sports Wax Promotions held event. And halfway through the day, North Carolina Ashley and another lady who was recording approached the South Carolina booth. This was in order to deliver a self-written cease and desist and prove that it was done. From what both parties have told me, this entire altercation was recorded by the two NC women. I asked NC Joe and Ashley multiple times if they could share that footage with me, and they refused to do so. I won't go into too much detail here, as the stories from both sides have a lot of conflicting information. It is concerning, however, that North Carolina does not want to share that footage. If South Carolina was the only bad actor in this situation, it would only help their story. They talked to me for an hour on the phone, but again, they refused to send me the video footage. Maybe we'll see that someday. Day 2. This is where the video clip comes from, that most of you have probably seen at this point in time. If you're interested, if you're watching this, if you haven't seen it, we're going to watch it. Don't worry. We end up with the video and clip from South Carolina Shea. The clip is from this day 2 of the event. Shea claims to be harassed by husband of the NC lady, aka Joe, that's on screen here. From the video, he was clearly upset and looking to solve the issue with violence. Now, whether it was all talk, whether it wasn't talk, still not acceptable to be threatening anyone. When asked about a prior threat that happened before the recording started, he somewhat confirms it happened, then avoids the question when asked once again. Coarse language and aggressive at an event heavily advertised as family friendly. Now, I don't care. I'm not the language police. If you're going to say bad words, say bad words. But when there's an event that's advertised, there's a lot of kids around. They're not your kids. So if you want to teach your kids bad words, that's on you as a parent. Now, other people's kids, other parents don't want to have to deal with you getting aggressive, threatening violence, and saying naughty words in front of their children. That's just kind of how it is. Be respectful. They mentioned a comment from the day prior about Shea calling Ashley Seth Rogen, which is interesting because in the phone calls that are coming up, we have very different explanations for this. We have ally plushies are brought up in the clip, and initially I thought this might be like a gay bashing thing, but it turns out it's just how they were pronouncing Ali from AliExpress. No worries there. Pride Month is safe and can continue as planned. If North Carolina plans on taking legal action to solve the issue, and I brought this up with them, why would I'm pretty sure I brought it up with them. Why would they harass, threaten, or want to get violent in any way? It doesn't make any sense. Handle it that way. You handle it that way or the other way. It's usually not both, from what I've seen. Joe claims he was sticking up for his wife. He's pretty adamant about that, and that Shea was instigating by trying to get near him. Joe claims Shea was also talking violent, but Shea claims that didn't happen. So if anyone has or was at the event and close enough to actually overhear the conversation, if anything was said on the other end of things, feel free to reach out to that. Or if anyone has a third person perspective of the events that happened at the initial, the day one events with the cease and desist and the recording that went on there, since we aren't able to see the footage, please do just send me a message. I'm curious. I don't know if there's additional information that's needed within this, but if there is, if it's important, then I'll either include it in a pinned comment or make a follow-up to this. Let's watch the entirety of the Shea video and clip before both lengthy interviews.
What's up, guys? It's Shea with Ketchum Collectibles, LLC, a South Carolina family-owned business. We actually had the opportunity to do our first big show over this previous weekend, and we just wanted to come forward and share our story about the events that actually took place while we attended. 2 weeks before the event, we were contacted by a business that was out of North Carolina who also claimed to be a vendor at the upcoming event. And she went on saying that she had a trademark and threatened a cease and desist if we refused to change our business name. As a new business, this surprised us, and we wanted to make sure that we did everything right. So we let her know that we would be talking to a lawyer before changing our name, because that would set us back a lot. But if we had to change it, then we would have. But after further research, we realized that she did not have a trademark. So ultimately, we did keep our company name for the event. So here comes the day of the event. It's amazing. We meet really cool people. All the vendors are nice and they all support each other. It's just overall a really great environment. However, halfway through our day, we were approached by the same lady who had messaged us 2 weeks before. And she brought another lady with her who was recording as she tries to publicly humiliate us in front of everyone by saying that we were stealing her name and trying to pose as her while we were there. This was completely not true, and I felt as if she was fear-mongering us, and she threatened to sue us if we did not change our name, and she demanded that we did not come back the next day unless we did. After the incident, we were assured that we wouldn't have to worry about this person bothering us anymore, and for the rest of the time that we were there, we would be A-okay. However, though, on the second day of the event, I was harassed yet again, but this time by the husband of the lady who approached us the day before. And it wasn't until he threatened my safety is when I finally decided, okay, I need to record this. So I pull out my phone and I start to record. So now I'm going to let the video play, and when it's over, I'm going to get back with you guys. How's that?
Because you're biting my Ketchum Collectibles LLC.
Really?
You're pretending to be me.
That's what it
People
is.
have come to you all weekend thinking you were me.
So what about what you
Change
just said?
your name.
So what about you just said? Stand on it.
I'm gonna stand on it.
The threat?
No, you gotta cease and
The
desist.
threat.
You got no more. You're not gonna do any
The
more
threat.
shows.
The threat?
Oh, I'm so cool. I'm
Hey,
gonna record you.
your wife did it.
You're a bitch.
Your wife did it.
You're a bitch.
Your wife did it.
You're a fucking pussy.
You realize there's
You're a
kids
bitch.
all around here,
I don't
right?
give a fuck. You're a bitch.
You don't care?
I don't care.
You don't care?
Stop smoking meth. Go back to your trailer park, bro.
Meth?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna sit here and play no childish games over
You
nothing.
wanna talk shit to my wife? Call her names.
Talk
and
shit to your wife. Call her
Yeah.
names.
Yeah.
Tell her to stop acting like Seth Rogen.
Yeah. You're trying to be funny. You're not funny, bro.
If I
You're
wasn't
not
trying to be
fucking
funny,
funny, bro.
somebody had a cackle out of it.
You know, no one had a cackle out of it. You did.
Yeah.
But you're fucking. You and your fucking ally plushies. Get the fuck out of here. Hey. None of our business.
Yeah, that's what I'm
You shut the
saying.
fuck up.
Hey, keep
I
your
will
mouth
fucking
down.
beat the shit
I
out
told
of
you, bro.
I will beat the
I
shit
told
out
you. I told you, man.
Take it outside. Let's go.
Hey,
You good, man?
Dave,
Mind
Yeah.
your fucking
mouth.
business.
No,
No,
you shut your
Dave.
mouth.
Dave.
Chill, bro.
Stop.
Chill. It's cool.
Jail for this shit.
It's cool.
Get out of here.
It's cool,
No,
bro.
you scram. I don't need your shit either. Dave,
I didn't do anything.
look at me. I just don't need you next to us.
Now, as you guys seen, this man was clearly harassing me, and his main focus was the business name, and that's where a lot of his anger was coming from. And even after I mentioned to him that there was children around, he stated that he did not care and continued to basically scream vulgar language at me and threaten me. Now, on behalf of my actions, I feel like I could have, acted a bit differently, but this being the second time that this happened at the same event, made me feel like I had to stand up for myself, and show these guys that they're not going to bully us and push us around and keep us from what we love doing the most. Unfortunately, though, after a little bit of time, I couldn't completely focus on making my sales and talking to people because I didn't know who was going to pop up next and start harassing us. So I decided to just reach out again for some help, but this time, sadly, I was completely let down. I was told that the best action to take was to change our business name to keep them happy and off our backs. I was also told that these guys were sponsors at this event, and because they reeled in so much money, this individual was in a tight spot and didn't know how to help us. Luckily for us, though, we did gain the support of other vendors that were there and happened to see or hear about what they were doing to us. And as time went on, I found out that these guys have done this to other businesses and vendors that attend these events, and they will not stop. And my question is, how is this even still being allowed? And these guys have supporters. Lastly, guys, if you're a business and this happens to you, stand by your creation. It's a beautiful thing, and do not let anybody limit you from your blossom. And if there are any of you who have gone through similar or the same experience with these guys or guys like this, feel free to speak up and leave your experiences in the comment section below.
This is Joe.
Hi, Joe. It's Rattle calling. How you doing?
Good. How are you, sir?
Pretty good. Pretty good. A little bit of a heat wave here, but other than that, surviving.
Where are you located? Canada?
Yeah, I'm in Canada, so we don't deal with heat very well.
Oh, I got you. I'm in the car with my wife, so we're both here.
Okay.
We're just driving. So I figured it was the perfect time to call. We're both in the car driving, so.
Yeah. As long as I don't lose you. If I do, I'll give you a call back.
Not a problem. So you got all the stuff we sent you yesterday?
Yes, and thank you for the call. And I guess the additional information, what you did send, is appreciated.
Yeah, so basically, that was our conversation with them prior to the event, weeks before.
Okay.
As you can see, there's nothing rude there. Just us trying to educate them on the process and how that stuff works.
Yeah.
As you can see, they agreed not to use the name.
Yeah. Well, I think they were a little bit confused or a little bit, I guess, taken back by like what was required of them, or because it seems like they changed their mind based on like information that they got after that.
Yeah, so it seems like, yeah.
And like the initial messages, like while they were like it wasn't like it wasn't overly rude or anything like that. I can definitely see how they might have thought it came off as like threatening or aggressive in a way.
I don't see that, but I get what
Yeah.
you're saying.
Okay.
Just educating them, sending them the proper documentation on what that looks like, you know.
Mm-hmm. So with the, was there any other like additional information on anything that happened prior to, or was it mostly just those messages and that was about it?
It was just those messages, and then show up to the show. I show up to the show on Saturday.
Okay.
I always go to the show, try to buy stuff for the shop. I see that they're using the name, and I just go up to them. I say, hey, you guys start to keep the name? They're like, yeah, we have rights to it. I was like, okay. Didn't say anything else. Walked away. Got back to the shop. At that point, you know, it's time to serve them the cease and desist because they wanted to keep the name. So my wife went Saturday, to Saturday afternoon, drop it off to them. She was talking to the girlfriend, who's the actual owner.
Okay.
Not the guy.
Yeah.
Who she should have addressed. They're just talking about it, and they're just saying, oh, you know, your trademark's not active. But of course it's active. It's pulled up in 5 seconds. Just going back and forth, just hand them the paperwork.
Okay. And that's like where
I guess the guy
they were recording kind of that
name is
interaction.
Yeah, they just recorded them just giving them serving it, just proof that we served them.
Okay.
That's it. He then he started to become rude.
Right.
A dick, so to speak. Calling her name. He even admits it on his own video.
Okay, that he said that
he called her Seth Rogen, and he's like, why are you shaking? Like, trying to make her nervous.
Mm-hmm.
So hi, how are you? So I'm actually the owner of my LLC.
Okay.
I created it. I'm the one that sent you all the information. I created my LLC in February of 2021. I was the one that sent you all the information, both on my federal trademark, which is live currently.
Okay.
But I also sent you information on common law trademark, which I have rights to. I did tell you there's a legal loophole around it because technically it can apply to any states in which I technically service, for lack of a better word.
Okay.
I'm going to be bluntly honest with you. I totally disagree with you. I don't think there was anything rude about the messages. That lady had actually, Bre, I think is her name. She actually had been scammed recently by someone in I apologize, North Carolina.
Okay.
I obviously did not want to send her the cease and desist first because it can cost money. It obviously gets expensive. It obviously can be very scary, especially as a new business owner. If you out the gate get a cease and desist and you kind of don't have any idea. So I did the right thing. I sent her very nice messages. I don't think there was anything rude in the messages. I even went as far as to say, like, hey, I'll be at the show. I hope to see you there. You know, we have, as ladies in the industry, we kind of have to stick together as business owners. So I actually think the messages were very kind. I was even very grateful and appreciative in the messages of her understanding that, yes, this is a brand that I have been building. So I thought the messages were nothing but kind. I gave her access to all the information she needed. Being 100% honest, like my husband said, I addressed her when I went to serve them with the cease and desist. I addressed her because it's her LLC. They're not married. It's not like I was talking to a husband. It was her boyfriend. He's not on the paperwork. She's on the paperwork. So I did the right thing, professionally speaking, and I spoke with her. I addressed it with her. And obviously the interaction was recorded because there was not a cop present with me. So I went ahead and I had the interaction recorded. That interaction was for nothing more than my legal protection so that I can bring it back to my lawyer. I can bring it back to a court of law and say, hey, I did serve them a cease and desist personally while they were especially operating in my state where my common law trademark applies. That was not for public knowledge. I was not doing that to embarrass them. If that were the case, if I was really like this devious person and I was going to be so nasty about it, then why would I have even given them, you know, the benefit of the doubt and sent them a message?
Yeah.
Now, I will say,
I just think it was
believe that they did not know about.
Like a little bit early on with like the saying like, hey, if you don't, like, legal action's going to be taken, rather than kind of just trying to sort it out without kind of any mention of that. And then if it resorts to that, then maybe see that later on.
And I can understand that, but I'm sorry, I'm an honest person. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. again, like, it is the reality of it. I have a trademark that, again, is live. It's pending. So at the end of the day, that I have to enforce that trademark. I believe it, according to what my lawyer said, if you don't enforce your trademark, you can actually lose it. So at the end of the day, yes, that is the reality of it. Like, that's not an idle threat. It was not me being nasty.
Yeah.
It was just me protecting a brand I built. And it is my intellectual property. And at the end of the day, their logo is almost identical to my original logo that I actually created myself.
Okay.
Their Instagram name, and I sent this to you, their Instagram name is actually a mix of both of my Instagram names. My first Instagram name, which unfortunately got hacked, and now my current Instagram name. So if you actually look, their Instagram name is in fact a combination of both of my Instagram names from me being in business. Along with that, you're sitting here, I'm still giving you the benefit of the doubt, but you're telling me you had no idea who I was, yet you've been sharing an event that has been tagging us as a sponsor since they've been posting it. So you're telling me that this whole time now you're seeing all of these sponsorships, you're seeing all of this information with my logo, with my name, with my brand, and you're telling me what? That you had no idea another company existed with that name?
Yeah.
So even if we, again, gave her the benefit of the doubt, which I did, I gave her the benefit of the doubt, and I was still very kind about it, but I still have to enforce my trademark. I still have to protect the brand that I am building. And I'm sorry, but anybody that's in the same predicament, anybody that is in fact a business owner, understands how hard it is when you make content, when you build up your brand, when you have intellectual property. No, you don't want somebody to come in and just rip off all of the hard work that you have done. With that being said, my husband and I also have a reputation for selling authentic product. Like, we're very particular about what we sell. We're very careful about what's in it, what comes into our store, what goes out of our store, because we stand behind the reputation that we built for our business. My husband was 100% correct when he said they do sell Ally Express items. That's neither here nor there. What they sell is 100% their business. But I definitely cannot have a store that has my exact name that could potentially cause confusion, which they did, for customers, for followers, etc. Selling Ally Express merchandise. Like, we are an authorized Play Store for TCT Plus, for Bandai, for all the things, for Lorcana. We're in the process of getting it for Pokemon. How does that look for my store, my brick and mortar, when another company now is using my name and kind of like playing it off and like clout chasing after my brand, and they're selling non-authentic Pokemon items? Like, you have to be realistic when you see it, and you have to understand where as business owners we are coming from.
Yeah, no, I get that. Like, it's, I mean, it should be just an easily solved, like, courtesy thing that people kind of don't overlap too much, especially, like, not so much, I guess, if you're going to be at the same shows and stuff like that too. I totally see the desire to have, like, completely separate names, whether it's similar or anything like that, to be distinguished as different sellers. So was there was there a pretty big altercation on the first day? She said there was like name calling?
It was just him just trying to intimidate my wife.
Okay.
Calling her names, and as a man, you don't do that. Like, you don't do that. We weren't even talking to you.
Okay.
Talking to your girlfriend, just explaining everything, serving her. He starts to become a prick, which is fine.
Okay.
He was talking over me. He was making fun of me. He's like, "Oh, why are you shaking? Like, I'm not gonna hurt you." Like, well, that feels like an odd thing to say. Like, why would you say that to me as a female? Like, first off, I'm only 4'11". I'm tiny. I'm very petite. Like, you definitely have, multiple inches on me. But at the end of the day, like, it just feels like that's an odd thing to say. And again, I was not recording. Like I said, obviously I sent the nice messages at first. I didn't cease and desist you to be rude. Like, and I definitely did not make a spectacle.
Okay.
There is a customer of mine that actually was standing semi-close to me, and he had no idea what was even going on, because, again, I didn't make a spectacle about it. I paid for my ticket. Even as a sponsor, I still paid for my ticket. I went down. I went immediately to their table. Like I said, I professionally addressed her. I introduced myself, and I said, "Hi, I'm Ashley. We spoke via Facebook. I'm the original owner of Ketchum Collectibles. you know, you and I had the conversation. Unfortunately, now I am having to serve you with a cease and desist. I asked you nicely not to use my name. And in the video, she goes to say something, and he's like, well, she's talking over you, so just scream over her. So, you know, now he's kind of hyping the situation, which, again, I'm still trying to interact with her because at the end of the day, he doesn't have any rights to the LLC. He doesn't even have rights to the name. He's not on that. So I was trying to interact with her. She was the one that I had spoke with. She also told me that her aunt was the one that was the lawyer, which you see, I understood they wanted to speak to a lawyer. That's fine. We gave them time. So I was trying again to speak with her, and she just kept saying, oh, well, you're dishonest. You lied. You said you were a vendor. I didn't say anywhere that I was a vendor. I told you right in the messages that I was a sponsor of the show.
And I don't even see how that's even relevant.
It really honestly isn't relevant at the end of the day, but in the video, I mean, at the end of the day, though, this comes down to facts. And the fact of the matter is, I'm backing up. I have proof of everything that took place. Like, I told her right to her face. I said, I'm a brick and mortar. I said, we're a bigger store here. Like, I don't have time to vend at these events. And that was not that from my mouth. That was not me being cocky. I didn't say it cocky. I wasn't being arrogant. But when you own a brick and mortar, no, you don't. We're a family owned and operated business. Like, I was in the store yesterday with my 13-year-old daughter. Like, we don't have time to vend at events. Like, we just don't. We show our support by shopping the shows, and occasionally by sponsoring them. We share the events, whatever. But no, like, we don't typically have time to vend. But he just continued to go on about, like, pretty much telling me that I'm lying. And then he's like, I don't understand. Why are you getting so upset? I was not getting upset in any capacity. I was not raising my voice. I didn't make a scene. It wasn't like, you can see in the video, you could see it like the room around me. It's not like anybody was coming up to us where they're like, oh, what's going on? Nobody said anything. Like, again, there was people walking by. Nobody like even stopped to see what was going on, because again, like, he and I were talking. Like I said, a customer of mine was literally standing behind me and had no idea what was going on. So if that were the case, then obviously, again, the room is loud. Nobody can really hear what was being said. I was not being intimidating. Like, I just told them, like, hey, now I'm serving you a cease and desist. I asked you politely, and I did say to him at one point, I said, did she mention to you that I messaged her? Did she explain to you that I was very kind about it, that I wasn't rude about it, that I explained the situation? And I said, you know, I can pull up the trademark if you want to see it. The trademark is live right now. I have the right to enforce it. But I said, you also use my intellectual property, which is, again, where the common law trademark comes in. I have rights. I have rights to that in particular. And they have done 2 shows in the state of North Carolina. So if we disregard my federal trademark altogether, which I can legally enforce, if we disregard that, I still have rights to my common law trademark because I've owned it first and I've owned it longer. And again, they have now come into the state where I own my trademark, where I own my LLC, and they have now done 2 shows. So again, I gave them the benefit of the doubt. I did everything right. I'm standing 100% beside that. I don't think there was anything that was said that was done that would have prompted this. But I think that he assumed because I recorded it that I was going to, you know, be dishonest. I was going to share it. Like I said, I did not record it. I was not going to put them on blast. My husband and I don't get into that. Like, we own a brick and mortar. Our reputation stands for itself. We were What Not Streamers for a while. Again, we have nothing really but positive reviews on every platform that we're on. We have a very good customer base. We have about 10,000 followers between our both platforms, Facebook and Instagram. So no, do you honestly think I'm going to show up to a show and, you know, make this huge spectacle? Because at the end of the day, I'm equally at fault if that were the case, because if I would have showed up to the show and made a fool of myself, like, do you understand that looks bad for me? So why would I have done that in a professional setting? And in the meantime, they were confusing our customers, they were confusing our followers, because actually in the beginning of the video that I recorded, you can actually hear one of my customers come up and say, well, wait, that's Ashley, where's Ketchum? That's not Ketchum. And they were pointing to the table, and they were right. That wasn't Ketchum. So by them using my name, they are causing mass confusion, because people have no idea, like, what's going on. They don't understand who these people are. They're not people they've ever seen before, not associated with Ketchum.
So did you at some point, I think he mentioned that you told them not to come back the next day if they didn't change the name?
I told them that they couldn't use the name if they came back another day. That was what I said.
Okay.
I did tell them, I think it was towards the end of the video, if I'm not mistaken, and I just simply said, like, look, I asked you nicely. I told you you can't use the name. If you guys come back and you use the name, like, I'm going to have to take legal action.
Mhm.
And I'm almost positive word for word that's what I said. Joe, do you not remember? Is that not pretty clear? Yeah, I was going to say, it wasn't like I didn't threaten them. I didn't tell them they couldn't go back to the show because I'm not a show owner. I don't make the rules as to who can and can't sell at a show. But I can control what I say, and I can control my trademark, and I can control what I have rights to legally.
Mhm.
And that is in fact accurate. I have a right to tell you that you can't use my name, especially in the state of North Carolina where I have common law trademarks.
Okay.
At the end of the day, that's what this boils down to. This boils down to what can be proven. That's what it comes down to, the facts. It's not an opinion. It doesn't matter. Like, people can, say whatever they want to say. They can all weigh in on it. But at the end of the day, it boils down to the legality of it. And the legality of it is that I protected myself. I protected my business. I did everything that was well within my legal means. I have proof. And I actually, again, was kind enough to them before even serving them a cease and desist. So I think I went well above and beyond, and I feel completely confident between my video that I recorded for my legal counsel and for the messages that I sent to them.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. I'd like to see that video, but if you can share it, if you can't share it, that's it's entirely up to you.
Right, so
I feel like it would just give me like a better kind of understanding of what happened on the first day. The second day where there's a clip, I kind of understand that could be taken out of context.
Yeah.
But
I'm gonna explain that one. I'm gonna explain that one to you.
Okay.
So obviously show up to the show on Sunday, Father's Day. Obviously, I want to try to get some last minute deals. Mind you, I don't even go near this guy, not once. So I don't go by his table. I stay very far away from him. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
This altercation happened by the front door as I'm leaving. Okay. And anyone can vouch for that. So,
but they were set up by the front door.
Like no, they were set up further down.
Okay, so the recorded part there wasn't at anywhere near their booth.
No.
Okay.
Not at all. It's like the entrance to the place and the exit to the place. So I'm making a last minute deal with a buddy of mine, swapping out a card for a slab, and in the last 30 minutes, this guy literally is like coming in my space, like stepping 2-3 feet away from me on multiple occasions, right? Multiple occasions, trying to get a rise out of me.
Mm-hmm.
So finally, he's like a foot away from me as I'm about to leave. And I addressed him. I say, hey, buddy, I'll ask you for a minute. He's like, yeah, sure. I'm like, I really don't appreciate how you talked to my wife yesterday. And I'm a man, and I'm going to address that. I'm never going to apologize for taking up for my wife. Ever. Ever. My wife or kids, you say something bad to them, I'm going to address it as a man. Because men don't speak to women that way. As soon as I said that, he gets in my face. I'll say, what are you going to do about it? Mind you, I'm not even in his video. I'm trying to walk away. And he's trying to get the camera in my face, like, hey, what'd you say? So before that even happened, we had exchanged words already.
Mm-hmm.
He cursed at me, I cursed at him, yada, yada, yada. Then he pulls out his phone, starts recording. Say that again, like trying to antagonize me, get me to incriminate myself, or whatever he's trying to do.
Yeah. So I was under the impression that maybe he said something like involving violence or threatening somewhat beforehand.
We both. So I just told him, if you speak to my wife, yeah, we both did.
Okay.
If you speak to my wife again, then I have problems. And he's like, what you going to do about it in my face? You ain't going to do nothing. Trying to get me to hit him. I'm not going to hit him. So he pulls out his phone and starts recording, trying to seem like a victim all of a sudden. Mind you, like people, I'm at the front door trying to leave. This guy's like literally following me now with his camera. He's like, leave me alone. So you hear another voice, another guy in the video that he claims I cursed in front of a kid. People curse in front of kids every day. If you want to crucify me for that, that's fine. But here's the thing. He didn't mention right after that, when I went outside, I went back in and apologized to the guy because that's the guy who was actually a vendor at my free vendor event 2 weeks prior. And we both shook hands. Like, yeah, it's all good, man. Don't worry about it, man. I get it. And I even talked to his son. I shook his son's hand and apologized for cursing in front of him and everything. So I did what I had to do to rectify that situation. Of course, he didn't mention that. And I could even share the guy's name who was in the video. And they even said that it looks like that guy was trying to antagonize me because he kept getting too close to me.
Okay.
And he was like, no, he went to the booth, like talking to the kid about like a $5 cartridge, trying to make small talk just to try to make me feel uncomfortable. And he's being an asshole, quite frankly. And I addressed it. No punches were thrown. It was just a video where I told him that I called him a bitch and I called him a pussy. I'm not gonna start to curse in front of you, curse at you. But that's what I called him. And I don't take any of that back. I don't feel bad for that. I'm a grown man. Grown men curse.
Yeah, I mean, it's the event is kind of like heavily pushed as like a family friendly thing. So like I can understand how they wouldn't want, like whether it was both of you or not, like how they wouldn't want people screaming at each other, getting aggressive, like looking to pick fights, or calling each other bitches or pussies, or saying that people are smoking meth or any of that stuff. Like clearly out of place. And I don't know, just like if the two of you planned on taking legal action to solve the issue, like the whole violence thing should be like avoided entirely, because it doesn't help your case any. Yeah. I mean, like you invited him to go outside, like you were gonna fight him. So I don't know if you guys were just gonna go outside and chat, or.
Yeah, we're gonna go outside and chat. I'm not gonna hit nobody. I have way more to lose than he has to lose.
No, entirely. Yeah, it should never come to violence over something. It's Pokemon.
At the end of the day, though, it wouldn't have come down to the cease and desist if they would have actually done their due diligence and their research. And I mean, because let's be honest, I sent you information on both trademarks within seconds. So they could have done a simple search, and they said that they were gonna get with legal counsel per her aunt, who's a lawyer, and that's in the message. So if her aunt is a lawyer, even if she's not a trademark lawyer, she should have been able to again kind of let them know, like, hey, just want to give you a heads up. She actually is right. Like maybe whatever, even if she can't use her federal trademark, but her common law trademark does protect them. So this all could have been avoided had she actually just done a little bit of research. And I'm not trying to be nasty, but as a business owner, if you want to be a business owner and you want to own an LLC and do all the things, well, that's on you. That's your responsibility to know the laws, to know the rules, and to follow them. Like, we all have to supposedly play by the same rules. And I will say, like, obviously, I'm 100% going to stand by my husband. I'm going to stand behind what he said, because I did meet the guy. I did speak to the guy. I do think he was trying to strong-arm me as a female. Lucky for me, I don't get bullied around that easily, so I really wasn't fazed by it. But they are also residents of the state of South Carolina. I believe they live about 2.5 hours from where my store is located. So, unfortunately, serving them a cease and desist at the show was, in fact, the only way to be able to do it in person, where I was able to record it and have it so that I can give it to my legal counsel. Because otherwise, I would have had to take time out of my day to drive 2.5 hours out to South Carolina to do that, or to send them the certified mail.
Yeah.
Now, because I had already notified them 2 weeks prior, obviously I wanted to make sure that we were getting it done in a more timely situation. With that being said, they want to push, they want to promote that their family owns and operated well. They may be boyfriend and girlfriend and they have an infant. My husband and I are parents of 5 children. And that's commonly known. My children are all over our social media. They're all over our website. So we understand better than anybody as parents of 5 children the family aspect of a show. With that being said, though, we're also human beings, and emotions are gonna run high, and it doesn't matter whether it's at a family show, whether it's at a car store, whether it's Walmart or Target. Things are gonna happen when emotions get high. People make mistakes. People say things. But I do stand behind my husband. He is right. Like, I did feel that he was being disrespectful. I did feel that he was getting in my face. I did feel that he was trying to strong-arm me as a female, which you're going to sit here and you're going to make a video about how great the hobby is. Well, I've been in this hobby since I am a little girl, doing it with my uncle who owns a Pokemon store. That's who got me into it. So my husband and I have both done Pokemon for a very long time. And again, we've owned our LLC since 2021. So we're well known in the community. We're well known a lot in this area. We, again, do the free vendor events. We do all the things. So for him to sit here and, the Pokemon community, you only just created your LLC. I have no idea who you are. I don't know who your girlfriend is who created the LLC. Like, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be nasty, but it really all is irrelevant. Like, you used our name. That's a fact. You had no right to use it. That's another fact. You tried to strong-arm me as a female. That's a fact. Like, the facts don't lie. The Pokemon community can watch a 5-second clip and they can come to what they feel is right or they don't feel is right. But at the end of the day, the facts remain. Like, you had no right to use my name. I was kind to you guys. I did everything that should have been done. I was within my legal limits to do everything that was, in fact, enforced. Like, and again, you taunted my husband. You went after my husband. You were looking to get a rise out of him. And even when you did that, and like, even when you're joking, oh, well, I was, because I made a joke about your wife. Like, so even though you're carrying on and doing all of that, like, my husband still took the higher road. And my husband took the higher road by apologizing to the vendors locally, by apologizing to the kid. Like, my husband did the right thing. And again, all of this video, this little 5-second clip, of course you're going to post the few things that you want somebody to see, but you're not going to post the whole true story. You're not. You're going to post what you want because you're trying to gain clout. Well, I'm hoping that in you using my name, you can get some of the, the few little followers, because that's what's going to happen. He's going to use my name to try to get a following. But at the end of the day, our reputation has spoken for itself. Like I said, we have good reviews. We're very family friendly. We host birthday parties. We rent out Pikachu. At any given moment, one of my 5 children will be in this store. And the truth is, if any of one of my 5 children from 17 down to 4 years old had been at that show in that moment and saw somebody cursing, my kids wouldn't have been offended. They would have just been like, okay, it is what it is, because it's adult business. It's grown adult business. And my kids would have been smart enough to see that he was antagonizing my husband and he was trying to get a rise out of my husband.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, like, at the same time, like, Joe knew he was on camera at that point in time. So, like, from not seeing any of the other footage, I can only, like...
I'm a real person. I'm not going to stop talking, or I'm not going to do that. Yeah. I'm not going to apologize for being a man. I'm not going to do that. So if you want, if your conscience is going to use that against me, that's fine. I'm going to stay by that 100%.
Yeah, I'm just saying that, like... In terms of, like, him taking out of context, like, if you guys were fighting with each other and all of a sudden he starts recording you, like, you know that he's recording you at that point in time. I can only assume that, like, the language was just as bad, if not worse, like, on either end of that video.
But at the end of the day, using foul language is not illegal.
No, it's not. But I think, like, the entire altercation should have and could have been avoided at all costs. Like, you're saying you wanted to save time by, like, serving the papers, but you can have someone serve the papers. Like, you don't have to personally do it yourself. You could hire someone to do that.
So I
and avoid it altogether.
out to local law enforcement. I actually had reached out to local law enforcement, and I actually was told that in order for local law enforcement to serve them, that I would have had to have, like, my lawyer set it up. Which is why, again, like, the paperwork too that I served them with was actually not paperwork that my lawyer had drawn up. Because, again, like I said, I served them a cease and desist, which I legally can do by law. I can write up my own cease and desist, which I did. I used my legal counsel. I wrote up my cease and desist, and I delivered it to them. Yeah. So, again, at the end of the day, like, they still have not technically even gotten any word yet from my lawyer. So, like I said, I still did the right thing. Like, I still was trying to help a small business out. But you're right. This all could have been avoided.
I think that, like,
if they had done the right thing and changed the name the way that I asked them politely, and they legally should have done. So you're right. This could have been avoided if they had done the right thing. Because if a store owner reached out to me and explained the situation, and I saw with my own 2 eyes, oh, wow, they did own the LLC for multiple years, and I had gotten those messages, I would have been like, wow, I'm really sorry. Like, I definitely wouldn't want to use your name. Like, you have my word. that I won't use it. And the truth is, I would have stood by my word. I would have honored my word, and I would not have used somebody else's LLC, whether it was a legal issue or not. Because at the end of the day, it really does boil down to what's morally right as well. So it's kind of astronomical that he wants to make a 5-second clip over Joe cursing, but morally this was also wrong. And it's wrong to go against your word. So, because I was always taught your word is your bond.
Yeah, for sure. Now, when you filed the trademarks, did you go through it with someone? Like, I'm sure you guys are well aware that it's just like a shortened version of the Pokemon slogan, right?
So actually, it's not. So Pokemon, well, obviously Pokemon has a lot of trademarks. Their biggest one being "Got Catch 'Em All." But mine, first off, mine doesn't say "gotta." It doesn't say "all." So yes, mine is just Catch 'Em Collectibles. I am well aware. Obviously, yes, I do have a lawyer that has to do my trademark. I didn't file my trademark myself. My lawyer did. Right now, again, my trademark is in fact alive. It is pending, obviously, additional documents, but that doesn't mean that my trademark cannot legally be enforced, which it can. So my lawyer is drawing up the rest of the documents now to pretty much kind of go back to the documents that were originally submitted by the trademark lawyer. Those documents were not submitted by Pokemon. They were not submitted by any other company other than the lawyer that works for the trademark office. Now, if anybody has experience with trademarks, you know that this is how it goes. You know, very rarely does somebody get a one and done and just submit a trademark application and it's immediately approved.
Yeah.
So, again, the trademark still can legally be enforced. But even if, like I said, you want to disregard my federal trademark, my common law trademark still goes into play. So I can legally enforce either or both. So it really is a technicality based on whichever one they want to pick and choose.
Yeah.
So if you want to say that there's something wrong with my federal trademark because it requires more documents, which is very normal for trademarks, then my common law trademark will still kick in. And at the end of the day, I have proof that you have now done 2 shows in the state of North Carolina where my trademark resides. Because I owned it first, because I owned it longer, that gives me rights to my common law trademark. And that has been verified by multiple lawyers. I actually went through 3 different lawyers to confirm that that was in fact correct and legal, which it is.
Okay, yeah, just more into like in regards of like I'm sure. Again, I'm not a trademark expert by any means, but I'm sure the Pokemon company could ask you to change it at any time, and even if you want to say like the catch 'em part is not the Pokemon slogan or anything like that. Like your branding and logos are colored silhouettes of Pokemon, and then you have like the full trademark "Gotta Catch 'Em All" on both like the logos and the clothing and everything everywhere. So it'd be a tough argument to say.
If Pokemon felt like they wanted to come back, then obviously that's something that my lawyers would deal with Nintendo or the Pokemon company. But at the end of the day, the federal trademark is still going to become irrelevant because even if Pokemon were to go after it, the reality of it is my common law trademark still goes into play. So if that's going to be the argument you can use, well, then I'm going to come back and I'm going to use the argument that my common law trademark is still very much in place and I still have a right to legally enforce that. And she went against that multiple times, I might add.
Yeah, I think it just would be pretty tough with anything like that. Like just the expectation, obviously a different circumstance where you're going to shows potentially or in the same area as each other. But like if you used like "I choose you" or used Pika or anything like Poke in front of it, like, or Poke, like you're going to have like if you use like a famous line or branding from the Pokemon company, like people are going to have similar names. Like even if you go on Instagram and search, there's 6 accounts that show up with almost identical, like, catch 'em.
Let me just say one thing.
We're not discussing similar names. We're discussing an identical name.
Identical.
I mean,
and
like,
I'm sorry, but I don't want to.
The LLC is like not. It's. I mean, if we're going off like technicalities, it's not technically the same name, right? Like, there's an apostrophe there, so like, it's like removing words. Apostrophe, like how close does it have to be before it counts?
It doesn't have to be exact.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be exact. There's another store called Catch 'Em All, who changed their name to Catch 'Em All. Catch 'Em.
Oh yeah, there's There's a ton that are like super similar. If you if you start to vary spelling and one more word, one less word.
It has to be close enough.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
And they need to be selling the same items that we sell. Obviously, we don't sell Ally Express items, but it still needs to be selling, i.e., the same things that we sell. So plushies, trading cards, lanyards, lounge, whatever, clothes, whatever you will have it. But with that being said, to avoid the logistics of it all, because I did send you some documents, obviously, to read. And if you have some kind of legal counsel, obviously, I'm sure these are definitely questions you can ask them as well.
Yeah.
I am well informed because, like I said, I do have legal counsel. I actually reached out to multiple lawyers just to be sure, that everybody was on the same page with my common law trademark, but also my federal trademark. And at the end of the day, my both trademarks can be enforced. So I am standing behind the fact and that's really what this boils down to. If you guys don't like cursing, that's a matter of opinion.
Yeah, I'm fine with cursing. I just like time and place, and like clearly it was just a heated thing, and like whether or not that was like a regrettable or not an all the time thing or something that just got out of hand is like it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen at times, and like is it gonna like ruin someone's childhood? Are they gonna grow up and like no, probably not. But like still, at the same time, like it's a bad look for everyone involved, I guess, is the biggest thing.
It's also a bad look for a grown man to taunt another grown man. And I mean, really, let's be honest. Like, you want to ridicule Joe because he cursed on video? Oh my gosh, the travesty! You want to ridicule him because he cursed on a video? But again, you're only seeing a 5-second clip.
Yeah.
You're not seeing a grown man taunting another grown man and getting in his face. Like, let's talk about boundaries. Like, we're worried about kids being present. And again, we're parents of 5 children ourselves. You want to talk about kids being present, but we're not going to talk about the fact that we are in the South. Like, and he literally got in another man's face and like continued and continued to go after him and to be in his personal space. Like, are we going to talk about boundaries?
Yeah, no, I haven't seen any of that, and I haven't talked to him yet.
Strong-arm me?
I mean, at the end of the day, the facts speak for the facts. Like I said before, I'm not going to apologize for hurt, and I apologize to the kid and the dad
and the vendors.
And the vendors. I apologize to them. That's all I need to. I don't need to apologize to the Pokemon community.
No, I'm not expecting you to do anything of the sort. I'm just saying that like the whole incident was kind of like blown up. Shouldn't have happened.
Yeah, but again, this guy's playing the victim, and he's not the victim.
No, I completely. I'm sure there's lots of other context of. And again, I'd be happy to look at like whatever he said in the first video or the first day, and if there's any other footage from the event itself of him like getting in your face, and it didn't come across in the video, but that's the only video that I've seen that he was like intimidating you or going out of his way.
But you could see that he was calling her name on the video.
I mean, he did
on his video.
I mean, yeah, he said that he called her names. He didn't say that he said anything explicit in any way, but
so you call a woman a man, that's not fine.
Yeah, exactly.
No,
and that's
absolutely
my,
not.
And that's my
let me talk though.
Right. And I don't know what was said to him. I don't know what he said at that point, other than him mentioning it or you bringing it up in that conversation. So I don't know exactly what was said and who was heated and who wasn't heated.
He started recording after we both got heated.
Yeah.
He wanted to get it on video, I guess, which I don't care. Okay? My core customers are gonna still support me because I support my family. 100%. I look after my family. I support my wife.
And we support the community.
But if people want to pick this story up and run it to make it look like, because now you got these trolls that people that don't like us, who we know who we are. We mentioned that yesterday. Who are sharing this video because he doesn't have the views to share it himself. Number one. So I'm sure after we left, these people who don't like us, who hate our business, because when you're successful, you're going to have haters. Like if you're doing something good, people are going to hate you.
Yeah.
It's just how it is. In any kind of business. I'm sure you have haters.
I mean, everyone does to any extent, and like the more people that know who you are, the more people that are going to hate.
I got people now who think, I got broken into like, what was it, 5 months ago, something like that? 4 months ago? In April. Now, I got people slamming my Instagram now that support this guy for some reason, saying it was fraud. Like that's the kind of thing that you get.
Mm-hmm.
From
Yeah,
stuff
I mean,
this.
like the internet is like it's full of people that'll just come up with anything or want to destroy
Yeah.
something that is,
At the
you
end
know,
of the day, though,
is
we're
not
not playing
successful.
the
So
victims. Like
they'll
at
try
the
to
end
bring
of
other
the
people
day,
down.
at the end of the, but at the end of the day, we're not having our customer, our following base of almost 10,000 people. We're not like you notice here. We're owning up to what we did. We're owning up to what we said, but we're also sticking to the facts because that's what this is built on. The facts.
Mm-hmm.
We are telling you what we can prove. We are showing you what we can prove. At the end of the day, that's what this boils down to. It doesn't boil down to the opinions of the Pokemon community. It boils down to who we are as people and what we do for the community. It boils down to, again, what we've done for our store, for the customers that we've helped, the customers we've connected with. That's what this all boils down to, which is why we stand behind the reputation we have. Because we have a very good reputation within the community. If you were taking our reputation and comparing it to a 5-second clip, you would very quickly see there's no merit there. Even if we dissect his video word for word, there's nothing other than, again, like the few little words they had, there's nothing in his video that's that. In his video, he says, well, she told us she was going to be a vendor. Well, you have to prove. You saw it yourself. I didn't say I was going to be a vendor. So you need to take it from where it comes. And again, we have the reputation we built. We worked very hard to build our reputation, but we're also not, we're adults. Like, we're not going to shy away from something just because the Pokemon community feels like somebody said something inappropriate. You know what?
Yeah.
We were there. We know what happened. We have the recording, but we're standing behind the facts. The fact of the matter is, like you said, could this have been avoided? Yes, it could have. How could it have been avoided? It would have been avoided if when I reached out, they did what they said they were going to do, and they got legal counsel, and they checked into things and realized that we were in fact right and they can't use our name. That would have put an end to everything. And you know what? I would have held up my end of the agreement. I would have seen her at the show, and I would have introduced myself, and we would have stayed in contact because we are still, sibling states. We still, I'm sure, will see each other around. So obviously, yes, like, he left off and there wasn't any animosity. But again, we're not going to be ridiculed, and we're definitely not going to shy away because now he's got 5 followers who want to leave us bad messages and leave bad comments. And at the end of the day, we're standing behind the business that we built. We put too much time and too much effort into it. And Joe is right. We have a very good support system. We're good to the community. We do a lot for the community. We do a lot for for the shows, for the vendors, for everything. And we will stand behind that. And I do agree with him. There will be a few people that won't, whatever, they'll unfollow us. That's fine. That's 100% their prerogative. But at the end of the day, Joe and I are going to be who we are. We're not going to fabricate. We're not going to sugarcoat it. And if the Pokemon community can't respect that, they don't appreciate us standing behind our values and our morals and our brand that we have a right to legally stand behind, well, then they're going to have to live with that. But I also would never. Again, I have the video. I could have easily shared the video. I didn't. I also could easily go leave them reviews. I didn't do that either. I could have asked my almost 10,000 followers to go and crap talk them. I didn't do that either. So at the end of the day, like if you really want to get down to it, well, you may have heard my husband curse. You also did not see him act unprofessional. You also did not see us use our platform to so-called bully and harass what he is claiming. On the other hand, though, he very much strong-armed me. Would you say he's about 5'10"?
Not a lot.
I mean, I'm 4'11". You're going to tell me, again, woman to woman dealing with something that we both own, a business matter. You're going to tell me him, standing over me, talking in my face, making fun of me, joking about shaking and all the things, calling me a man and everything else. That's not him trying to bully and harass me. But even though he did that, I didn't share that video. I didn't throw him under the bus. Because, like I said, that wasn't the purpose of why I was there, and that wasn't the purpose of the recording.
No, that makes sense. I don't want it to come off as like I'm using that one clip to like come to a total understanding of everything that went on, and that's why I reached out, and that's why I asked you for your side of the story. I would very much still like to speak to them about it. If they'd like to add anything to that, they're welcome to do so. It's just if when there's claims that are as wild as the ones that they were making, or as they're serious claims. Like if he's saying that people are coming and harassing him and threatening violence and anything else, then that ends up being something that typically I'm going to look into. and where there's a lack of information, it was entirely one-sided information, other than a short video clip, then I'm going to want to talk to the people on the other end of it as well. So.
Well, I guess I am very happy that I was able to send you as much proof as I was, because now you have access to a whole plethora of information that is actually factual and not a 5-second clip that was taken by a man who purposely recorded that to taunt another grown man.
I mean, he made a lot of claims as well. So, I mean,
made a lot of claims.
They were one-sided claims. It was just like he could have claimed anything. So we do want to know. Right.
Where's the video?
Exactly.
He can say what he wants to say. He's playing the victim, and I can understand why he's trying to do it. He's trying to get followers from it. He's trying to grow his business off of the name. And like I said, the only people who are really like even commenting on this thing is the people that are not our customers, who don't like us for one reason or another. They've made it very clear, which is fine. We have good relationships with every local store locally. People send customers to us.
In the meantime, how many local businesses in the collectible industry were at our vendor event?
Store came out.
Yeah, I think we had like 6 or 7 actual collectible stores from all over the states of North and South Carolina come to our free vendor event, which we've hosted before. We don't take any proceeds from that. On the contrary, actually, we pay for all of the marketing for it, and we try to make it a big, massive event, so that, again, we can encourage the community to support these other small businesses. So for anybody to imply that, again, anything that we said or anything we did was not with, like, the best interest of our business and somebody else's business is just simply not factual. But, again, everything that he claimed in his so-called video, I was actually able to send you proof. Joe said that, in the video, you sell AliExpress. Well, I have proof. He does. I have proof that his stuff comes from AliExpress. That's not us being mean. It's a fact. Let's talk about facts. That's a fact. You do sell AliExpress merchandise. That is a fact. You are going against my federal and common law trademark. That's also a fact. That's not an opinion. It's a fact. Legally, I served you with a cease and desist. I have a right to do that. That is a fact. Like, everything that I stood on, everything that I sent you is fact. The store that the gentleman that was there at the vendor event that my husband apologized to, the vendor that also apologized to my husband, he actually vended at our free event 2 weeks prior. That's a fact. Everything that I shared with you, it's not hearsay. It's fact. It's content. It's intellectual property. It's things that I own, that I sent to you. The messages I sent to her, that I sent to you, fact. Like, everything is fact. I'm standing behind what I can prove. I don't have any reason to lie. There's nothing to hide. Like, I'm not taking a 5-second clip and posting it on the internet after taunting somebody and trying to get them to hit me. And if you really want to get down to the truth, I would assume that the reason he recorded the video was because he probably thought that I was going to be sharing the video that I took of him, which is kind of astronomical, considering I never indicated, I never said any such thing. Again, the video I took was nothing more than a video that I needed for my legal counsel. It had nothing to do with him. I still, again, like I said, to this minute, I have not shared. Obviously, I did make an Instagram story letting my followers know that that was not us and that we were not vending at the show. Outside of that, I have not made anything to ask my followers to leave them nasty messages. I have not asked my followers to send them anything. So everything has been very cordial up until this point on our end. And you hit the nail on the head when you said this could have been avoided if they had done their due diligence and done their research. When you own a business, that's part of owning a business. It's trial and error. You have to learn as you go.
It doesn't even come to that, because Saturday wasn't an issue. If he would have stopped coming around me and trying to poke, I was at the front door about to leave. This guy was looking for a problem. People don't realize I'm not by his booth. I didn't even go by his booth. He came to follow me.
But he didn't include that in it.
He didn't include that. So
and he didn't include the apology in the video. He included the part of the video that he wanted people to see. He included the part of the video where he wanted people to be upset and angry with us. But again,
was he recording more than that? Or did he record like longer than that, or was that like the extent of what he was recording?
I don't know if he recorded longer, because I already left the building at that point. I don't know if he kept recording. I know he cut it on after we had our first initial word. But he was doing the same thing I was doing. He was trying to be a man, like saying he'd whip my ass, that kind of shit. But of course, he's not going to record that. And then when I come back with the same thing,
the same way he's not recording him instigating and looking for a fight and trying to pick a fight. The same way he didn't record you and the other gentleman apologizing to one another and then leaving on good terms. And him telling you what a good vendor event we hosted that was free, again, for everybody, for all local businesses. But again, like I said, he's going to try to control the narrative. I'm not worried about controlling the narrative because at the end of the day, I don't answer to them. I don't answer to the Pokemon community. I have to answer to my business. I have to stand behind my reputation, and that's what I'm doing. And at the end of the day, the Pokemon community can judge me because my husband curses. Oh my God, the travesty. They can, crucify us because we curse, we're grown, whatever. But I have personally found that within my brick and mortar, we tend to attract a client base that appreciates that we're open and that we're honest and that, we're not fake and we're not phony. And the truth is that's something that the world is very much in short supply of. Like, what you see is what you get. We are our authentic self. And while some people may want to call it rough around the edges, if they want to say whatever they want to say, my husband and I are also extremely good people. And like I said, we do a lot for the community. And the truth is, the community that supports us locally, the community that supports our brick and mortar, that will be the community that will continue to rally behind us and will support us because they see all that we do. It's not that it needs to be talked about on social media. And if the social media wants to blast us because he curses, well, you know what? Then he's a damn good company because I curse too, and I'm a mom of 5.
And I'm gonna wrap this up because I know that you probably got things to do. I just wanted to get you our side of the story. I just wanted to get you the facts and everything, and you do with it as you will.
Yeah, for sure. And I appreciate you guys talking to me and kind of clarifying about some of the other events that took place.
You can't criticize. You can't judge my business and judge me as a person just on me cursing.
Or based on a 5-second clip.
Exactly. You can't base me, my character, and if you base my character on me protecting my wife, I'm doing a damn good job of it. And if you can't criticize my business from me cursing, and that's what they want. They want to get a rise out of people. They want to, so-called shut us down. It's not going to happen. But in this world, in this day and age, I know you do a lot of content. We got to stop letting these so-called victims that are not really victims prevail.
I feel like if he was just as much to blame, and if he was instigating a fight and name calling, bad words, making a scene and making something of, again, it should have been like the entire situation, like, could have been easily resolved. It should be in the best interest of both them and you guys to have separate names or distinguishable names and logos and everything like that. Like, it's just, it seems like something that just shouldn't have happened, that got blown out of proportion and it's unfortunate.
It did get blown out of, it's unfortunate. It got blown out of proportion. But if he didn't come and attack it, you never would. He succeeded. I give him credit for it. He succeeded. He got me cursing on film. I didn't hit him. There was no violence. It was a different story if I took him out and beat him up.
Yeah. That'd be far worse.
Words just words. Until somebody gives them meaning.
Just words.
Yeah. Really, they're words. Words just words until somebody gives them meaning.
The words that I said, people have said them plenty of times.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, it's not like, in no way is it professional of anyone to be, threatening violence or anything like that. And depending on the laws and depending to what extent threats are made, words are sometimes not just words.
If you get down to it legally, he was harassing you because he was following you. He had a right to be at the show.
Will tell you that he was following.
And it was bad enough that other vendors actually noticed that he was following him because that was brought up. Yeah, we did notice that he was following. So, again, but you know what? At the end of the day, we're adults. We're not children. We're not, like I said, we very much, everything I shared with you, I could have plastered all over my social media. But the truth is, I don't need to. There's no reason to. I'm not out here trying to make them look like the bad guy. I'm not out here trying to hurt anybody's small business, which, again, I've mentioned it. I think I've made it very clear. I'm not trying to hurt anybody's small business. But with that being said, my husband and I are a brick and mortar, and we don't run our business out of our home. And I do think that it's a very, very, very terrible situation that our lovely cancel culture has made it that we are able to just very much go and easily undermine and hurt a brick and mortar business that does in fact do a lot for the community and has proven to be an important staple in the community. Even with GameStop being walking distance from us, even with Target being walking distance from my store, and you know what? We still thrive. And we thrive because of who we are as people. Because at the end of the day, they're not coming to support Ketchum Collectibles. They're coming to support Ashley and Joe. They're coming to foster and build those relationships that we've made with our customer base and our followers. And we've done business transactions in multiple states all over the place. So, again, we're going to stand behind the reputation. It speaks for itself. It does. We're going to stand with our brick and mortar. And I'm, as a wife, going to stand with my husband. But I'm also going to stand on the fact that I do think he was trying to strong-arm me. And I'm never going to fault my husband for cursing. And I'm definitely never going to fault him for trying to make sure that I'm always safe and protected. You know, and it is unfortunate. The situation may have been different if my husband would have been able to go with me to serve them. But unfortunately, he couldn't. Because, again, we own a brick and mortar.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know what? Somebody has to be there working our store so that, we can keep our livelihood afloat. But in the meantime, he's going to have his followers leave us nasty comments. They're going to do whatever they're going to do. But, it seems to me that it's hypocritical. Because if the Pokemon community is so great, then why would you purposely try to enforce bringing out the worst in the Pokemon community by having them come after my store? I haven't done that to you because I'm not enforcing that bad. I'm not trying to promote that bad in the Pokemon community. But if you are, then you stand behind that.
Right. Okay. Yeah, if there's anything else that you think of, or if you want to send it my way, feel free to do so. Again, appreciate you telling your side, clearing up any of the missing details or in betweens. And I guess that's pretty much it. I think it's just like a huge, especially for you guys, it's like a huge waste of time, potentially money. That could be spent, making the business better or something like that.
Yeah, why would I want to spend money? Why would I want to spend money on attorney?
Yeah.
Like, of course, I'm going to give you the option to change it before we get to that point.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why should we?
And as a courtesy, it was a courtesy. Again, because she still has not legally been served. I mean, yes, I served her, which is still technically legally, but like my lawyer still has not sent her paperwork. So even then, like I said, I still gave her two chances to do the right thing and to change the name without having to get my lawyers involved. That seems pretty fair if you ask me as a small business owner.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I'll probably let you go on that.
No problem. Thanks for hearing us out of the story.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for telling it.
No problem. Hopefully you got enough information.
Cool. All right. Take care. Drive safe.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Hello?
Hi, is this Shea?
Yes, sir.
How's it going? It's Rattle calling.
I figured, man. It's going all right, man. How's it going with you?
Pretty good. Pretty good. It's a little warm here over the last couple days, but surviving as an Arctic individual. But or Canada rather, not that Arctic. But so I just wanted to I guess to get a little bit more detail from you. I talked to the other end of the exchange, Joe and Ashley yesterday, for about an hour. And so I just wanted to run through, like, I guess, details of all the individual, like, altercations, what kind of went on there, just to try to get as many details as possible, as correct as possible.
All right. Do you want me to run from the beginning to the end, or you want to just ask? I got Bree here besides me. I got you on speaker, so I mean,
okay,
whatever works with you.
Yeah. So I guess we can go with like some questions, and then we'll kind of break it up into, I guess, the separate days or the separate events.
Okay.
So in terms of the initial contact, if you want to run me through that, Did you guys know about them, or was
Um,
that like the first? I've seen the DMs, or I guess, of them kind of saying like, "Hey, change your name. We have the rights to it," and that
yeah,
kind of stuff. So if there's anything other than that,
I
other
got you.
than those messages.
Uh, I'm gonna let Bree tell you because she's the one that was contacting them and everything, or that she's the one that they contacted and she responded to them. So I'm gonna let her tell you.
Okay. Yeah.
Hey.
Hi.
So, initially, so we have our business in South Carolina, and honestly, I had never even heard of these guys before. So I randomly get a message from Ashley one day. It was about 2 weeks before the event, and she's basically telling me, I have a trademark. I have legal rights to the same. You can't be using this. I'm the owner of Catch on Collectibles, and she sends me screenshots and stuff. And it really throws me off. And I'm like, well, look, I have an LLC too, so I have, just as much rights as you do. I have no idea about anything about a trademark. And I let her know that my aunt is a lawyer, and I would be speaking with her, because she was on a cruise at the time, so I couldn't call her right away. But whenever she got back, I would speak to her and, figure everything out. And she was like, well, I just asked if you don't use the name at the event because we're going to be there. We're sponsors of the event, and we're going to be there selling. And it's just going to cause so much confusion and this and that. So I was like, she sent me everything, and I just took her word for it. So I was like, okay, well, at the event, I do understand that it's going to cause confusion and stuff. So I won't use it at the event. So then after I had, more time to find out everything, and she even posted this on her page. This is how I knew she wasn't actually a vendor at the event. And that's what she told me, that she's going to be there selling. So I found out that she wasn't a vendor. She was just a sponsor, and she was just going to be there, like, I guess, buying from people. So she wasn't a vendor at all. She didn't have a table set up selling.
Mm-hmm.
Just turn right up here. But she didn't have a table there selling, and then I found out she doesn't even have a trademark. She did apply for one, but she didn't get it. And then come to find out, anything like Pokey, Catch 'em, anything like that, you can't even get a trademark on, because it's widely used. You can only get a trademark for something that is unique to you. So she basically lied about so much, and then I was like, well, I can't take this woman's word for anything. So we just went there and set up the business and did what we come there to do, and weren't really, worried about her. But I'll let Shay talk to you about a little bit more stuff.
Okay.
Ask them if you had any questions about anything that
do you have any questions about what she went over? She asked.
Not a whole lot. I kind of thought the same thing as soon as I looked at it. It was a little bit weird that, you would try to trademark or even trademark anything that was so closely related to like the main slogan of Pokemon is kind of wild to me. Not to mention the fact that like there's like 6 accounts that pretty much use the same name on Instagram. So I but like, for the record, I think that you're both better off like operating under different names just to avoid confusion on both ends. But in terms of like how they approached it, I don't think it was a good start. The way that I read the messages came off a little bit aggressive, and probably, if it was less so, I don't know if that would have affected your decision on potentially changing the name or operating under a different name, or coming up with some way to make sure that you're distinguished as different companies or different individuals, I think is the biggest thing.
Right.
Yeah, and once I found out that she had lied to me about several things that, it took me off, and I didn't feel like we could work together because, you can't trust anything they say at that point.
Okay, so it's the two of you that kind of run or operate the small business?
Yeah.
Okay. And then, so I guess we can get into day one. I guess the biggest thing with the first day that doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me is the fact that they're, like, I've asked them several times if they would share the footage of them like coming up and recording, I guess them delivering the paperwork. But they at first said that they couldn't do so because the lawyer told them not to. But then at other points, they kind of just said that they don't really think that they needed to. So I'm just wondering, like,
Well, now that you mentioned that, I was just to give an additional information because I'm thinking about it. In the footage, which I know they said it while they were recording. I guess whenever you say that they were like trying to get under our skin, like basically say, oh well, you have to change the name. They were telling us in the footage that James said this, James said that.
okay.
You know what I'm saying? So I guess not to, I guess put their friend and the reason that they're able to, be sponsored to the show and all this other stuff, they're allowed back and everything. If they put that out on James, you know what I'm saying? I feel like James will have no other choice at that point to just tell them they can't come back. You know what I'm saying? Because they really were trying to like scare us however they could. If that wasn't even true.
Yeah. It's just a little bit hard to hear. I don't know if you're like further away from the phone or.
Okay.
But
So
there we go.
whenever, can you hear me better now?
Yeah.
Okay. So another thing is whenever she came up to the table, well, she had a woman behind her recording us, and they just walked straight up. I was sitting beside our table in a chair because I had my baby. She's a year old. I had her actually in my lap, and I was sitting there. And they walked up to us, and then she just went on to say, how we need to change our name and this, that, how she has rights. She's got a trademark, and I said, no, you actually don't. I told you I was going to talk to your lawyer and find out the facts first. I can't take your word for it. You lied about someone. You don't have a trademark. I'm not, fault for it. And then she goes to say, well, because I told her, I said, we have an LLC in South Carolina. We have an LLC in North Carolina. So we're in the same boat as far as using the name. And she was like, okay, well, you're at an event in North Carolina. You can't be here. So then she goes from saying that we can't use the name at all to we can't use it there at that event in North Carolina. So there's a lot of things that she got caught up in during the video. So that might be another reason that they don't want to share it. But honestly, we were hoping that it would come out.
Oh, I think I might have lost you for just a second there.
You said you lost us for a second?
I think so. It just went quiet, but I don't know, unless that was just the end of the sentence. But yeah, I kind of get that. And then like, I mean, if we're going with like technicalities of like it's not a Pokemon slogan, then I kind of think that like if you have like the slightly different name and it's in a different place, I don't know. The whole thing is kind of wishy-washy on that end, and it might have been like a strong arm thing. Was there in terms of like day one, what was there stuff said that in terms of like insults, and because she's saying that you pointed out that she was shaking, and then you said that you weren't going to hurt her or something like that?
Exactly right. She I couldn't tell if it was anger or if she was trying to like act like she was scared. I'm not really sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it was all super fast, and I didn't expect it to happen. But when I walked up, like when I approached, because I've seen that these guys were coming up to breathe, and they had a phone recording. It was just obvious to see like their demeanor and everything. But I listened for maybe like 5 to 10 seconds, and I realized that this lady was like basically all over Bree's case, and every time Bree would open her mouth to speak, the lady would just talk louder over her. And by the third time that it happened, I was just pretty, I mean, if you want me to be honest, I was pretty pissed off. So I told Bree, I said, why don't you talk over her? She's talking over you. You know what I'm saying? Because Bree's trying to tell her what she knows, and the lady's just talking louder, and there was like a table behind them that was like just people were just staring at us. So it just made me really uncomfy, everything that was going on and how they were trying to make us look. But she constantly over and over and over was telling us that she was serving us. And to my knowledge, I'm pretty sure since she's a party in the situation, that she herself can't serve us anything. It should be, if I'm right, a law officer or something of that sort, or anybody over the age of 18 that is not a party in the situation. So I mean, I didn't take her serious at all. That's why I didn't keep the papers. But when she constantly kept saying, I'm serving you, I did say, I was like, you can cut it with a Seth Rogen crap. She was like, Seth Rogen, and I was like, yeah. And I can't remember exactly what it was that I was saying. I was basically just trying to defend what Bree was saying, and she was trying to tell me it was in the paperwork, and she went to go open it, and her hands were shaking. And I mean, to me, it just looked like she was trying to make it look like something, or I couldn't tell if she was mad or trying to act like she was scared, but I went ahead and clarified to her that nobody was there to hurt her. I mean, after all, she did approach us with this problem, you know?
Mm-hmm. So what was the Seth Rogen joke or insult, or was that involving was it like appearance, or?
So like, if you watch the movie The Interview with him and I can't remember which brother it was, but in the interview he basically would dress up as different people and would like constantly serve people. He would say, "You're being served," you know.
Okay.
Just how she was saying it. So I told her to cut it with the Seth Rogen.
Okay, so. Oh, I can't hear Bree again.
Oh, sorry. She was basically saying that, I don't know how she explained it. I don't really remember that, but she said that she was basically like doing a little dance or something like that, like just like she was like Fortnite emoting or something, as she was saying that you got served, basically. Like she was like, I don't know. Like,
so it was like a cocky kind of instigating kind of thing.
Better word for it.
Okay, so yeah, from what I talked to them, it sounded like they were concerned that you were calling her a man with the Seth Rogen thing.
Wow.
But I don't know if they actually took it that way or if they're kind of twisting it to be that way. But,
I mean, you can watch the very first scene in the interview. Literally, he does that. He like dressed as a mailman, and he set somebody up. You know, made them say their name. And he was like, "You're being served." You know, like that was like his job. He would do. Yeah. But yeah, I didn't try to say she looked like a man or anything like that.
Okay, there's no like personal insults or any.
No.
I mean, I don't know. She kind of was mentioning the fact that like you were much taller than her and like that she was intimidated or something like that. But also it was kind of. I mentioned to them that it was kind of their choice. Like if they wanted to serve the papers, like you don't have to do that on your own. And then it kind of turns out that in order to get law enforcement to actually serve the papers, it has to go through the lawyer, and this didn't go through a lawyer or something like that. So a lot to do with that, I think. And then also just like the whole like in-person altercations and like spiraling out of control, and clearly by the looks of like the second day there was completely out of line. And I mean, it's not good for anyone, I don't think.
Right. And just to finish up on with like details in the last part, with the first day, when she said it twice, like basically what I was saying, she was like, it's in this paperwork, and she tried to hand it to us, and I told her I declined it, I didn't want it. And before they walked off, like Bree said, she was sitting in the chair holding our 1-year-old daughter, and they literally propped this folder up after I denied wanting it. They propped this folder up on Bree's lap and our baby. So just like sat it down in her lap.
Okay, so and then I would imagine like after the first day, at that point, from the sounds of it, Joe was pretty upset about what happened there. From what he told me, he was upset of the way that he was going to stick up for his wife, apparently, and that's kind of their justification for the second day, or I guess the clip that happened, or the contents of the clip. I'm sure it extended beyond that on either end of it. So,
but you talking about the video that I took?
Yeah, the video that you took. I'm sure there was kind of events before and after that. I don't know if you want to clarify on like kind of what happened on that first, or just like the entire second day, if you want to run through it. They're claiming that you were kind of trying to get close to Joe, that they never came close to your table or near your booth, rather. So if you want to go through kind of that detail.
Okay. Well, we mainly just sold plushies before. We didn't sell anything else besides, like, honestly, I think it was just plushies. But we were going to this card event. I ended up purchasing my own packs of cards that I opened myself and everything. And I filled up a binder of that, and we already had a sports card binder that was there. So I was looking around at different people that was vendors there, and I was seeing what they had, and I was like, buying really cool looking cards and stuff like that, so that way, we could have a little bit more flash over there where we were. And I actually ended up making friends with another vendor, and one of them was a young boy, and I'm not really one to say names, but obviously in the video, the Dave guy that ended up was, being bothered by this guy's language and everything, that was his son right beside him. I was just then like trying to trade a full art drowsy card that I got. And because he had some really cool cards, and I wanted to see if he would make a trade. And right after he told me, he looked around and he said, I'm not sure if I really want to make the trade. I said, yeah, no problem, bud. And then the guy behind me, which was Joe, he said, hey, man. And then when I turned around, he asked me, if I'm not mistaken, word for word, he said, what in the F do you think you're doing? And I was like, what I came here for, or something around those lines, because, I mean, dude, like, you could see this guy's demeanor was just like, he was just, I don't know, I can't really explain it, but my defense went up automatically. And I can't remember if he said something about his wife first, but he said something like, I will end you, or I will break you, or I'll beat the shit out of you. There was just so many things said, I can't clearly remember. But I know it was like a threat, so that's why I was like, oh, really? And then I pulled out my phone, and he strictly stayed on the business name for like the longest, and so many other things before he actually said word for word, like, you're talking shit to my wife. So once he said that, I was like, I knew it wasn't talking shit to his wife. I was like, talking shit to your wife? I was like, because I said, stop acting like Seth Rogen. Like, this is why you're acting like this? So after I clarified that, he's like, yeah. Like, yeah, that's exactly right. Like, and I was like, he's like, you're not funny. All that happened, everything in the clip, resumed from beginning to end. After the lady had told me to scram, and I realized how much it was bothering, and I decided to just end the video right there. And, after Dave got up, he was kind of coming at the guy because he was like, fuck you, I'll beat the shit out of you. And his son's standing right there. So, I mean, honestly, I understand why he was so pissed and everything, but when he was coming towards the guy, Joe took off outside. He was like, let's take it outside. And I never walked out. I was trying to calm Dave down. And, after I stopped the video, I put my phone back in my pocket, and I was sitting there telling Dave that he didn't have to do that. I could stand up for myself and all that, but I appreciate it. And his wife was pretty upset, so she just kept asking me to leave, so I did. And I just walked back to the table. I didn't even follow Joe outside. I didn't do anything like that. And I went back to the table. I was in the middle of explaining to Bree what happened, and James walks up, and he's like, basically like, what happened? And I only got a little bit out my mouth. He was like, so they're the ones that started. And I was like, yes. And then he just walked back off, like, toward the direction of the exit where Joe left, and that was pretty much it. After that, I had, I don't know, like, it was probably like 10, 15 minutes. They did, like, another raffle, and, my anxiety was out the roof because, that's two people that already came up to us, and I don't know what was going to happen next, same guy or a different guy. And, hold on one second. And, anyway, so, just to feel comfortable, I wanted to go to James and explain how I felt and everything, because, he didn't come back and give me any closure. So I asked him if he had the time to step outside with me, and he said, yeah. So we walked out, and I was explaining to him everything, and, he asked, like, a couple questions. I told him exactly what happened. I can't clearly remember what it was, but I do remember him saying, well, I'm in a tight spot, guys. Or I'm in a tight spot with you guys, or something like that. He was like, these guys are sponsors of the event. They do bring me a lot of money and everything, so I really don't know what to do. But I can't offer you or propose you this. When you go home today, you can change a couple things about your name, or add a couple words in there, and I'll book you guys for the Wilmington show, and these guys will be on your back. And after that, I remember saying, well, if these guys end up coming up to us again, and he cut me off, he was like, well, you do what you got to do, man. I don't blame you. So I just stopped talking to him, and I just went back to to our stand and everything.
Yeah, I saw James was like commenting on the video that you posted, kind of like saying that it was drama or whatever. Yeah. That's the thing. Drama is one thing, and I wouldn't be looking into it if it was just like saying some mean things to each other. But like when it starts to get violent at an event, And even then, like, I'm not the language police or anything like that, but like when people are threatening violence, or threatening like legal action and everything else, like that's outside of just like drama and petty arguing and whatever. So, when I talked to Joe, he mentioned that you were also kind of, um, I know not necessarily like threatening violence, but like implying it or going back and forth with him about like
No,
taking it
I can.
outside or
I can.
fighting or something like that.
No, there
Did you
was
say anything of
witnesses.
the sort?
No, no, sir. Like there was people all around us. Specifically, I couldn't tell you exactly who. They were just, mostly customers, and there was vendors around us. But no, this guy approached me while I was at the table right there. I literally just got done trying to trade a card, and he pops up out of nowhere. And honestly, in that, I didn't even picture it. But like when I watched the video, I realized like at one point in time, I even tried to walk away. Like I don't have time for these childish games. It was at that moment when I said that he like gets closer to me, so I have to, spin around again because I don't want this guy behind me. Cause like that's kind of how like where the direction was. Like when he started talking and walking forward again, he was coming from behind me. So I stopped where I was, turned back around. I didn't come up to this guy, man. I didn't threaten this guy with anything. I
Okay.
didn't call him names. I didn't do any of that. The most name calling I did was tell the lady to stop acting like Seth Rogen because it was ridiculous what she was doing.
Yeah, which is a
And
whole lot, different than if
yeah,
you were calling her a man or saying that she looked like Seth Rogen or something like that. That's probably a little bit
I mean
different.
it's all in
But
their video, man. It's all in their video, man. I
yeah,
promise you, dude. I didn't come here to look for fights. I didn't know a single soul there. We just came there to get our business name out there. That was our first big event. We've only went to 2 other places where we sold our things besides off of our website, and it wasn't even Pokemon related events, man. It was like an outside thing. There was only like 10 to 15 vendors there. This was like the biggest thing we've ever went to and attended. And we want to get our name out there, man. We don't want to have any problems or any things like that. I wasn't
yeah,
trying to be a hot.
it's a waste of time
I was
and
just like,
effort. Like you're there to both probably enjoy the event and make some money. So
yes, sir. But yeah, I just again, man, I didn't call this man any names. I didn't do anything like that. I just stood my ground because it just really seemed like this guy was trying to push us around and bully us or scare us or something.
Yeah, that's fair. It kind of looks like that's likely to be the case. When he said he was talking about your plushies. This is kind of like an unrelated note, but like calling them out for being like bootleg or whatever. Was that actually the case?
No.
Really stay away from that stuff. But well, at first, because he said like he called them ally plushies, so I thought he was like making fun of them for being like gay or something. But no, I think they were just saying that they were from like AliExpress.
Yeah, me either, bro. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I don't.
I just trying to make a joke about our plushies, but I don't know what ally plushies.
Yeah, I think they were saying like AliExpress, so like a website with a bunch of like bootlegs and stuff like that. Try to stay away from that stuff if you're near it. Especially like the cards.
Right.
It's not like the thing is that like they're harmless if someone has them and they know they're fake. But when they start getting traded to like, especially with kids, to other kids or like anything like that, you end up with a kid that trades like something that's valuable for something that's, worth nothing. Is the biggest issue with those.
He's talking about the plushies.
Oh yeah, and just the plushies and the cards, especially the cards. The trading cards are pretty bad for everyone. But
no, nothing that we had was. Yeah, the plushies are official licensed Pokemon plushies, and all the Pokemon cards are legit. That was just a slant on our name. He's trying to make us look bad, and according to other vendors, he's done the same to them.
Okay. I don't know if there's anything else that kind of wasn't included or you think is like important. My ears are open. James kind of like you kind of summed that up. I was gonna ask about that. That he kind of wasn't doing anything because he didn't want to lose out on any funds from either party, I would imagine.
Yeah, that's what it seemed like to us. He was just really worried about
losing money. So, and they even told us when she first messaged me, she said something about James reached out to her and let her know that there was another Ketchum Collectibles, and she planned on confronting me at the event. But she was messaging me. She decided to just message me beforehand and ask me not to use the name. And then whenever she confronted us, she mentioned James twice, trying to make it seem like he was on their side. But whenever he met us and spoke with us, he kind of like made it seem like he was not even going to get in it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, handle it between yourselves.
Yeah.
And also after the first day of the event, they went home and they posted us on Facebook, on their Facebook story. And I can just go ahead and send you a copy of it to your Instagram messages.
Yeah, if you want to
but
send
they
it to us.
posted calling us imposters and said there's only one Ketchum Collectibles and these guys are imposters. And I just sent you the post so you can look at it. And that made us look bad. Like, you know, the second day of the event, people coming back, I don't know who saw that post or not, and who's going to choose not to come to our table because they think we're imposters trying to be them. When I even showed her that I had a legit LLC, and I apologize for I didn't know there was another Ketchum Collectibles. Obviously, I wouldn't, you know, willingly open another business with the same name. It's just, you know, a coincidence. And, you know, I have rights to the name. I would change it if I had to, but at this point, the business has already started. It would set me back to change the name, so I'm not going to unless I have to.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, with the little bit of digging that I did, and I don't know if you guys have seen it or not, but like if you go on Instagram, there's a Ketchum Collectibles that's kind of existed 4 years before they did, and was doing the similar kind of events. I don't know if they still are or not, but like it's just like when you have a common name, whether it's like I choose you Pikachu or anything that's like a common phrase or like the main slogan for Pokemon, you're going to get a ton of overlap. It's just kind of the name of the game. And when like what it all comes down to is like for either one of you, like Pokemon could all of a sudden, if you get big enough or if they notice or if they want to, they can just tell you to change that. Like they've done it in the past to people. Usually, you know, if you're kind of minding your own business and it's a Pokemon fan thing or account or anything like that, like they're not going to say anything, but
right.
And it's hard to say like, oh no, it's just catch them. It's not like gotta catch them all. Like you took a couple words out, but when it's printed on a Pokeball or with them where it's got Pokemon silhouettes and it's got the full gotta catch them all slogan above it, like it's. And then if you're like, even if you are able to file like a trademark or something like that, I don't even know if you should, because I would feel like more than anything that's just gonna get Pokemon to do something. Like you're just kind of drawing attention to the fact that you're kind of loosely using their IP. So that's my take on it.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. I think just in general, I think if they came at it a little bit more or a little less aggressive off the get-go, and like the two of you work together, like, can you please change your name? If there was little to no cost involved in doing so, then work on that, or make like have something that distinguishes the two businesses. Should be pretty easy to do so without causing a scene or anything like that. So hopefully it's not an issue.
I'll admit there was like at least 3 people that had came up to us and they asked if there was one guy, he said, did y'all change y'all's logo? And that was like the third guy that came up, so we already knew that, you know, he was confused, but we were like, no, you know, we are a business from South Carolina, you know. We've had other people walk up to us and ask the same thing. And the other 2 people were asking if we were the store from, I believe it was Huntersville, and we told them no as well. So just to back up the fact that we were not trying to pose as anybody. We were not trying to clout chase. We were not trying to, you know, do anything of the sort. We were literally just trying to get our name out there and, you know, just rack in a little bit of money, whatever, this big event, and, you know, make a lot of connections, meet a lot of new people and stuff. We wanted to go to this event with open arms, wanted to make friendships and everything, and ended up, you know, getting that and, you know, whatever this is.
Yeah, it's a pretty big mess for what it is, I think, at the end of the day. But
Right.
hopefully it works out. I don't know what kind of clarification, whether or not you have another little sign that says not to be confused with, or South Carolina, North Carolina branding or something like that, but then not looking like it's a
Right.
like a franchise or another store or something. But and yeah, I don't know. Even if it's not too expensive, where you guys are kind of starting off, if I was in that place, like I get it, like it sucks that someone's gonna like try to like bully you into changing your name or anything like that, but if it's not
Right.
too much of a hassle, like I personally wouldn't, if I had the same altercation, like I wouldn't want to be associated with the other person either.
Right.
But I don't know. There's always going to be a little bit of overlap in terms of like names and stuff like that. I think the biggest issue is that like you guys were so close together that it ended up being more of an issue than it actually is.
Right.
But I think that's about it in terms of clarification. But yeah, if there's anything else that you guys want to send to, like they didn't send me that. I didn't see that the Instagram story that you sent over. So thank you for that.
Right.
And
no problem, man. And just to clarify on if we're selling fake stuff, dude, everything that we have is real. What'd you say about the Pokemon? The plushies?
The plushies are officially licensed Pokemon products as far as the plushies.
And the cards I had went to stores like Walmart and try to fill a binder as quick as I could, you know, and see whatever I got out of there. Because like it was all like a, you know, last minute type of thing. You know, we already had the plushies, but because it was a card show, we wanted to, you know, come there with everything that, you know, was relevant to the event.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I think with all of that stuff, unless it's like some kind of fan art or like paintings or whatever that people are doing, like the vast majority of like the bootleg stuff is just kind of bad for everyone. And you know, it kind of takes a little bit of like looking into it before you kind of realize it. But yeah, and it's pretty commonplace. Like anything flea market or show or anything like that, they're like, you're always gonna see that stuff. But like more often than not, it ends up burning someone, whether it's the person that buys it initially or someone buys it or trades for it later on. So it's just good to kind of not support any of that stuff, mostly for that reason.
Right.
But that's I think that's it. Are we good in terms of details?
Oh yeah, that's pretty much all I can think of right now. If I think of anything else, I'll let you know.
Send me a message. Thank you very much for taking the time to hop on a call with me. Very appreciated.
No problem, man.
And best of luck going forward.
All right, man. Thank you. Have a good day.
You too. Bye. Conclusion time, brought to you by the Rattle Pokemon Linktree. Thank you everyone that's been using that. Again, it helps me very much because it makes me, it allows me to make the content that I want to make. It allows me to make content that maybe doesn't do so well because it's too long, like this one. Maybe it gets reported by scammerinis. It gets false flagged. It gets removed. YouTube doesn't like that too much, as we found out. But regardless, we got to make the important content, whether it's the thieving from places, whether it's issues with violence or anything like that, or scams, and all of it is very important. Much appreciated to everyone who shares it. Much appreciated to everyone who supports the channel and allows me to basically make the videos that I need to make, that I feel like I need to make, that I want to make, how I want to make them. And it's largely due to the fact that you guys are using these discount codes. Save yourself some money, get something awesome at the same time. These are all things that I use and recommend. And thank you for clicking here and using the codes before you do shop for any of the stuff here. Super thank you to Troll and Toad Card Market, Securus Card Shop. But without further ado, the whole situation doesn't make sense to me. It's pretty silly when you take a step back and you take a look at it. Again, I am probably one of the most stubborn people on the planet. But again, in my opinion, both parties, based on what happened, should want to be distinguished from one another. In my opinion, they're wasting their time and energy on something that matters very little. I doubt very much that customers care as much as they think, or as much as they let on. It's Pokemon's IP at the end of the day, and even North Carolina hasn't really built that big of a brand. Not to hate on them, because everyone's got to start somewhere, and it's not like they're in terms of like the business, in terms of the hobby, they're still fairly new. Now they're going to claim that North Carolina is going to claim that South Carolina doesn't have a following. So again, at that point, why are they so concerned? I think that making your business stand out, as long as it's, people should know. You should give people a reason to know the difference between the two, even if you end up at some of the same shows, even if you're a sponsor for a show that they show up at. Again, I don't think those details matter too much about whether or not they were at the event as a seller, or at the event as a host, or at the event as a sponsor in any way. I think it doesn't. There's more productive things. We'll get into that. There's more productive ways to spend your time, energy, and money than stuff like this. And clearly, like the biggest thing, the moral of the story is don't. It's Pokemon, guys. Whether it's your business, whether it's a hobby or anything like that, it should never get violent. It shouldn't ever at any point in time. That's ridiculous. I have a really hard time believing that South Carolina was actually trying to imitate North Carolina. If you're doing it for clout, or if they were looking to do it for clout or to steal reputation or business from the other company, there are countless others that have a bigger name that they could have used if they were just looking to kind of rip somebody off. Again, it's a huge hobby. There's a ton of people with a bigger platform with more reputation than the other Ketchum that exists here. Does the whole situation only happen because they end up at the same event? Probably. Because, again, there's other Ketchums all over the world. In my opinion, North Carolina ended up looking extremely bad because of the swearing, getting loud, and asking, basically requesting a fight in a public setting. In my opinion, that's far more damaging than having even if it didn't get recorded, even if it didn't get posted online, even if it didn't get covered, even if we weren't looking at it right now, I think just doing that in front of a few customers is more damaging than having the same name as somebody that, according to them, was telling people what the difference was explaining the difference. Could they have worked on something to make it stand out, like a little sign to go along with their branding to say like, hey, we're not the same company? Something like that, easily solved. They don't have to answer questions all day. There are plenty of solutions that are not just a requested fist fight outside, name calling and everything else. An event that's supposed to be fun. Again, you should, if you don't enjoy selling Pokemon, if you don't enjoy going to these events and everything else, and something like that is going to ruin your day, then you need to rethink what you're doing. So I don't think they will. But they're potentially going to sink money into lawyers and a lawsuit on something that their customers likely don't care about. Does it benefit them? Will it benefit them? Even if they win, even if they force the other Ketchum to change their name from Ketchum, what does it accomplish at the end of the day? And at the same time, why wouldn't they put that money into building their business? In some way, there's countless hours that you can sink into a small business in productive ways, tons of money that you can put into areas to improve your business, to build it up. And I don't think this is one of them. Kind of protecting a name that doesn't even necessarily, doesn't belong to you. That's kind of what it comes down to. And if there's an LLC, again, there could have been such a productive conversation in the beginning here. Just make sure, hey, can we find a way to make sure people don't think that we're the same company, that you're not like imitating our stuff. It's going to cause confusion. It did to some extent. I think it's pretty easy for them to explain to customers like, hey, we're not the same company. But at the same time, there's probably something that you can, without having to answer. Or maybe it's a productive conversation to the extent that the other company changes their name to something else. I don't know what that conversation is. It didn't happen here. So we have North Carolina who has again, this is constructive criticism more than anything else. They have a website that currently serves little to no purpose. If we're looking at areas of where you're going to spend money, it doesn't have anything people can purchase. And from what I can tell, they don't sell online other than a mention about you know, in the phone call, doing whatnot at one point in time. It doesn't sound like they're doing it anymore. Even if they are doing it, it doesn't make sense to me. It's insane, basically, that it's 2024 and you're a game store that doesn't sell online. That is like, there's a ton of game stores that probably, I would go as far as, there's definitely game stores that have gone out of business because they didn't change their business model, that they aren't selling online and they're just a brick and mortar. It'd be very hard to be just a brick and mortar. Depending on where you're located and how much you're pumping through, most game stores are selling. They're selling through places like eBay, TCG Player, through their own website, sometimes a combination of all three, and maybe even others, maybe Whatnot as well, maybe eBay Live, whatever it might be. So unless it's not advertised, it doesn't seem like they're doing those things, and I think that's extremely useful. It's if you're going to spend time and effort and energy, if you want to stand out from the rest, if you want to be who you are, if you want to make a name for yourself, I think more so than having a similar kind of ripped off name from Pokemon is to do good business, do honest things, build the business up. If you build the business up and you're going to let on that this other person, they're just started and they don't know what they're doing and they're selling crap, then show it. Same thing with YouTube, same thing with anything else. Just prove yourself time and time again, and that's where it'll come from. People will recognize you as a standout individual, not because you have a trademark, not because you threaten other people that try to have a similar name, but because you do the right thing. If you're an honest business and you build yourself up and you have the online and you've delivered time and time again, people are going to recommend it, whether it's sponsored content or not. They're going to recommend your services, and you're going to stand out over the like fly-by-night pop-up kind of pandemic kind of, you know, I just opened a game shop. Is it going to disappear? Is it a random Shopify site? Guys, please don't buy from random Shopify sites. You might think you're saving $5 on a booster box when it doesn't show up. Even if you're protected, even if you can charge back, the amount of time, energy, and effort that you're wasting when you could, you know, you could support somebody, and with the time saved, trust me, the extra couple dollars is worth it in the long run. Now, I will ask you guys to join the Discord once again. Thank you for all the support. Thank you for watching the most ridiculously long video of all time. Maybe not. I don't know what the record is for the longest video on the channel here, but if you made it through, you're the best. Love you very much, and see you next time. Bye.